Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
The What's on Tap podcast, Mexican Challenge.
Mexican Challenge indeed.
It is. Very excited about today's episode.
So we've brought a beer each. And without actually knowing it, we both brought American beers in a kind of a Mexican style.
Exactly. So these are two highly acclaimed beers, both done in a Mexican style per se, but have very, very different profiles and entries into this concept of a. It's not Mexican lager, because lagers are really popular in Mexico because it's so freaking hot there that you don't want like big heavy beers. What they've done is they've taken like the styles and the flavors of I think the foods and beverages there and communicated those into a beverage made of malt and hops and water.
Yes. And when it comes to the first beer, the beverage it's inspired by or claims to be, you'll have to educate me. During our friendship, you've told me many times about it, but the first beer is the Bruery Xata.
Well, actually, it's Xata.
Xata.
Because it's Xata.
Sure, I trust you completely here.
So Xata would be kind of like a reference to the Mayan traditions and heritage of Mexico.
Because the drink is horchata.
It's horchata.
Yes, that's why I said horchata.
But H's are silent in,
I get it.
in Spanish, so it's horchata.
Yes.
Right.
So it's so the brewery is from California.
Yeah.
It's a blonde ale brewed with rice and lactose with natural cinnamon and vanilla flavors.
Right.
So it has everything.
Yeah, and so horchata is like a really refreshing. It's kind of like almost like a milkshake in some ways.
Yeah.
Made with rice. So it's also like a really big carbohydrate bomb. So it's basically like you're drinking carbohydrates.
Nice.
So it is like a calorically dense, like rice milk, almost like you took rice pudding and you made it into a drink, a milk drink. That would be kind of horchata with, like I said, cinnamon and what was it?
Cinnamon and vanilla, lactose and rice.
So it's really sweet. It's very easy to drink, but it's also like extremely calorically dense.
Nice. You know what? Any carbohydrate that is not in beer is the wasted carbohydrate.
Very much so. What I can't get over is how clear this beer is. If you were to tell me this was a, I don't know, like a Pilsner or like a Czech Pilsner almost, because it's kind of that color. It's very gold. It is very golden.
It's very beautiful.
In color.
Very beautiful, actually.
Yeah. Blondel is to the extreme. And it's just like you can see just straight through it. I mean, it is very, very clean. And it just smells. It smells of cinnamon.
Cinnamon, vanilla.
Yeah.
It smells. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's spicy.
It is. You definitely get all the herbal nature of this. Like you get the cinnamon. I mean, I feel like there might be a little nutmeg in there.
Yeah. I mostly get cinnamon and rice.
Yeah.
But not like this Thai rice.
No.
It's like this thick, sticky rice.
Yeah, I wish there were I wish there was a little lactose in this. Because I think the lactose would bring out the creaminess that you kind of would get from...
There is lactose in this.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, well,
I think there's not enough lactose.
There's not enough lactose then, because this should definitely have more lactose. We didn't mention, but it comes in at 7.2% ABV. But I feel like the flavor profile is there. I get the flavor essence of the horchata, but I'm missing the creaminess factor. And I know when I've had this before, I was like blown away by how much lactose and vanilla there was in this.
Yes.
But I feel like once you put it into the can, maybe it kind of is missing a little bit of that.
I've also had it. I don't even remember when, but I remember it as more tasty. Mm-hmm. And you and I have had other beers that tried to imitate horchata.
Oh yeah, what was the one we had?
I can't even remember. Untitled Arts.
It was Untitled Arts
made a horchata stout.
Oh my god, that was perfect.
Yeah, so maybe horchata suits better. No, I was going to say that maybe it suits better in a stout, but we know that's not true because we've had this particular beer before.
We have, and it's been excellent. And you know, like the aftertaste is still extremely rewarding. I'm actually quite loving the way this beer lingers, and the flavors that just kind of keep popping as we talk, and as the air passes over my tongue, you just kind of like get reminders of the different flavor components of the beer. So I still think it's really, really good.
Yeah.
But it's just not hitting those notes like that Untitled Arts horchata stout.
No. And I did find this in the back of a cupboard, and it has no year on it, so it could be old. We just don't know.
Yeah, but your cupboards turn over pretty quick.
Not the back.
Not
of
the back. All right, so it's very, very back. All right.
But that's fine. Because just maybe the lactose will decline with age.
Could be.
Maybe that's it.
Could be.
I still like it.
Yeah. No, I would not disparage this beer to anyone. I'm saying it's. I've had it better, and I'm sure I'll have it in the future, and it'll also enjoy it just as much. So I'm going to give this, I think, a 3.75.
Me too.
Yeah. And this is a beer that I think I was like 4.5 before.
Yes.
And that's when the lactose and the vanilla was really hitting, and it's really dropped off here. And I think that kind of flattens the beer quite a bit. It takes a lot of the charm away. And,
but because of the historically good rating, that was why I brought it to treat you.
I know. I would never try. Like, if you were to bring it again tomorrow, I'd be like, let's open this bad boy. I love this beer. So, yeah, I'm never going to turn it down. All right.
Should we move over to the next American
Well,
brewed?
we will. Let's take I keep forgetting this. I have to put in the commercial breaks.
Oh, right.
So we'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back, and we'll look at the next beer.
The Mulberry Boys, every Friday night. On the show, you better know they keep it tight. ETL is back and the J-Strom's in the zone. Introduce the co-host, he doesn't do it alone. PCZ is about to hold court. You know he's on the headset, you can hear him snort. Pop culture, movies, TV shows, and games. Rotten Tomatoes, reviews, news, and Blu-rays. Foggy don't play around, he will bust a drop pass. Welcome to the Entertainment Landfill Podcast, the Jason and Steven Show. It's the Jason and Steven Show. What? The Jason and Steven Show. It's the Jason and Steven Show.
Have you ever wondered what so-called family films will scar your kids forever?
Putting 4 and 5-year-olds in front of this movie, it's like, if they didn't know what death was before this, they're going to know it after it.
They're going to know it after it, and they're going to be freaking terrified.
And they're going to be questioning you.
Yeah.
Or do you have the slight suspicion that your loved one has a cold, dead heart?
Yeah, the Dark Knight has got like all the orphans and like, oh no, we're going to die. They did not build up those orphans at all. In my head, it's like, kill them.
Then look no further. The His Film Her Movie podcast is the show for you. It's the movie podcast that celebrates the contrasting cinematic tastes of its hosts. So join Jordan and Lauren every week on their unique journey through the land of the silver screen. So if you're looking for a few laughs, some fun film-related chat, then get involved. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, so next up is the Clown Shoes, which is, they're from Illinois? Do you know? Am I just saying things now?
I don't know where Clown Shoes is from.
I don't either. I gotta say, I thought it would be on their label, but I'm not seeing.
Explain the beer instead.
It says our mission is to produce beer without pretension, while being free.
They're from Boston.
And a little crazy. And I will say that they definitely hit a little crazy. The 7% ABV. It's Mocha Sombrero, Mexican style coffee stout with coffee and vanilla. And there's kind of a luchador character on the cover drinking large amounts of coffee. So if I know anything about this beer, it's going to be a lot of coffee. And so there's not a lot of coffee in this beer. I'm going to be
disappointed.
Very, very upset.
And for anyone who doesn't know, a luchador is a Mexican wrestler.
Right. With a mask and
yes.
and things.
Very extravagant, flamboyant, crazy colors and stuff.
So if this is a Mexican-style chocolate stout, I'm going to say, when I hear Mexican and I hear chocolate, I think also cinnamon.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of ground spices and things like that. So if you ever had a Mexican hot chocolate, it's like cinnamon and ancho chilies, and so it's a lot of flavor. It's slightly spicy, but it's not like it's not like, oh my god, like rip my tongue out spicy. It's just got a little bit of heat to it. So I'm kind of hoping that that's what we're going to get from this beer, although it doesn't say it on the can.
With all those ingredients, I think of mole, the spice mix. But this is not supposed to be a mole stout.
No. Well, I mean, when you get to mole, though, mole is it's a melange of chilies that are smoked and dried and ground, and then it's a bunch of different seed types, like 4 or 5 seed types that are ground up, and then there might be chocolate in it depending on the mole style. So I'm not expecting a mole from this, but I'm expecting a Mexican hot chocolate, which is different.
Let's try it.
All right. I'm getting a lot of chocolate off of the nose, but that's kind of all I'm getting. So
roasted.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right. Well, this is giving me my kind of canned stout flavors. It's pretty flat.
Canned stout flavors?
Like it's one of those beers I'm kind of like, yep, that's a stout, I guess. I mean,
when you said that it was like 7%, I was surprised.
Why is that?
I thought it was going to be like 10 or 11 when you presented the can. I guess I didn't know enough about the Mocha Sombrero beer. Because this is where a lot of 7% stouts fall for me. Mm-hmm. Where sure the flavors are great. It has a lot of roasted flavor and some chocolate, some coffee, and then it just disappears from the tongue immediately.
Yeah,
Poof. It's very ethereal, hard to grasp.
For me, I kind of get this weird, almost plastic kind of flavor to it, where it's just kind of like it feels like like it picks up some of the can lining somehow, and it just kind of.
I doubt that with modern cans.
It doesn't. I mean, it's not what's happening. But for me, I don't know how else to describe this flavor, but it's a consistent enough flavor amongst stouts that are kind of like this style that I don't have any other way to explain it. For me, it just tastes kind of like a little plastic.
Yeah, for me, the aftertaste now is a dusty bitterness. What I mean with that is like 99% chocolate.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to eat it. People do, and they say it's the best thing ever. But when you eat 99% chocolate, it's just
they're lying. It's
extremely bitter.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting from this beer in the aftertaste.
I will say it is dry. I mean, it just drops. I mean, once you swallow it and you're done with it, it is not giving you much else after that. And that's the problem. Is it's not particularly thick.
No.
It's not particularly like exploding with flavors. It's just pretty forgettable overall, I would have to say.
Yeah, and when they write vanilla, I'm not getting any vanilla.
I think vanilla was an afterthought, maybe. It's like they had to put something else on the label. And like, oh yeah, vanilla.
People love vanilla. Yes,
Everyone
we
loves
do.
vanilla.
We do, but it
Yeah,
needs to
but
be.
there's not. I'm with you. I am not getting vanilla off this in any way whatsoever. And you're right. The chocolate is a very dry, almost like a cocoa nib kind of
Yes.
chocolate.
This isn't hitting my spots.
No, I'm really disappointed by this one. I had much higher hopes for this. At first, I thought, well, maybe it's too cold. That's why we put it last.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too cold anymore. I just think that this isn't. It's just not doing a lot. I like Clown Shoes a lot. They do a lot of really interesting beers, and they do a lot of really fun, crazy kind of things. Their packaging is always just really over the top.
Yeah, always top notch.
Yeah. But this beer is not working for me.
No. I'm gonna give this a 3.25.
I'm gonna go 2.75.
Oh.
Yeah. This is largely forgettable on, like, it's so forgettable that in 6 months' time, if someone say, "Hey, have you tried this before?" I'd be like, "I don't think so."
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Let's try it. It's Clown Shoes. They always make good
Yeah.
stuff. I hold them in high esteem.
I do too. I think they're one of the more fun American breweries. Whereas, I mean, they're not just doing only hazy IPAs, which seems to be the trend of some breweries, particularly along the East Coast. They're coming out with a lot of stuff, and they're always I think innovating and pushing the bar and doing new and interesting stuff. But they can't all be winners.
No. The beer I remember most fondly from Clown Shoes, and that was a long time ago, was the Blakecorn Unidragon. It was an imperial stout. I think it was barrel aged, and it was the label was a mix of a unicorn, a dragon, and a few other animals.
Yeah.
Like you say, they're always over the top. It just makes no sense, and you just buy it.
Yep, every time.
Yeah. But sorry, Mr. Mocha Sombrero Luchador man.
Yes. Well, we have a clear winner for tonight. It is the Xata.
Yeah.
Which is a really good beer. I think if you find a can, which is a year-round release now, of all the Bruery beers.
It's usually available somewhere.
Yeah. This being... I was on their website the other day because I actually bought a couple of beers and I wasn't familiar with what they were from the brewery.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time finding them, so I went on the website and try to find them. And then I just kind of look through what is their releases and seasonal releases and the barrel-aged releases and then their year-round releases. And they have a wit beer this year-round.
Yeah.
They do I think there's a boysenberry thing they do year-round. They do the Xata, and then I think maybe the So Happens It's Tuesday might be a year-round release now. So they're doing 4 beers that are cans year-round releases. So I would say if you find this out there, definitely grab it. You're not going to be disappointed. Whereas the Clown Shoes, I would say look for something else.
Yeah.
All right. So you can find us online at whatsontap.podcast.com. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. We are Pod Syndicate. And wherever you can find great podcasts in the world.
I think you nailed it.
Thank you. I feel like I did this one time. Finally, after a little over 3 years, I finally figured it out.
So until next time,
keep drinking, you dum dums.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.